Hi, I am Aaron Parecki. My website is aaronpk.com, and my website got a little bit better today. So I did a couple of under the hood things that I can talk about briefly first. I did in fact push the fix for aperture that I was talking about, and then I realized that I actually can't test it until I wait a while until some of the feeds keep getting fetched and parsed. So I'm going to have to finish the rest of that later, but it is half working. Half of it is confirmed working. The rest is probably working, and I can't test it for probably another week or so. I also made some updates to Monocle based on working with you all here, and I think I'm not going to show those off because they'll appear in other demos. But that was some. It's good to get those changes done as well. The exciting thing that I got done is I did in fact update my profile picture. Yay. And yeah, there it is. It's my new picture. But there's one more thing, which is, so I often use emoji in posts. And for a while I've had this page, which lists out my most commonly used emoji.
In order?
In order of frequency,
Nice.
Which I'm very pleased with. It's fun. And if you click on them, you will see posts that use that emoji.
It's like a tag.
It's like a tag,
Cool.
but it's an emoji. So I had this fun idea, which is that I wanted my picture to change depending on what emoji I use in the post. So if I use a crying face emoji, that is my profile picture. If I use a beer emoji, that's my profile picture.
Wow. How did you do this?
If I use the grimacing face emoji, then I'm making a grimacing face.
Well done.
Surprised face. So
What's the pizza one?
what's the pizza one?
I saw a pizza photo yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Or this morning. Yes, that was this morning.
Nice.
So I'm very excited about this, unreasonably excited about it. What are the ones I have?
So you basically brought back the LiveJournal
There's a
custom
martini.
icons.
There's there's a martini, there's a bicycle helmet, there's a heart eyes.
When did you make all of these photos?
It's an excellent question. I did this right before I left for this trip on Sunday last week. Sunday night, I was like, I'm leaving in the morning, but I need a bunch of photos for this weekend. Time to do a photo shoot. And I had to go and buy pizza at the pizza store downstairs and make myself a cocktail and pour myself a glass of beer.
It's amazing.
And that was an enjoyable several hours.
How many do you have?
I will leave that as an exercise for the reader. Actually, no, so the other cool thing about this is if I go and log in, somewhere in here I have a secret login link. I can show you how I set it up, which is actually, I was like, do I just manually hack this in, or do I make this a little bit easier for myself in the future to configure this stuff? And I decided to go for the stretch goal of let me give myself an actual interface to this. So in my settings, there's an emoji page, and I have all my files on the disk, and then it lets me map emoji to the pictures. So I can be like,
Double mapping, I like it.
so I can just
Oh, you have two emojis.
Yeah, yeah.
type in emoji, and then more than one mapped to one. So
Sweet.
these are all my.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
You actually have a clinking glass. Who clinked a beer with you?
Myself. One picture this way, and then one picture that way.
Okay.
And then photoshopped it together. That one took the longest. And then I have to sound as a reference for myself so I can like, which ones do I use? I should go fill them in. So
This is definitely something you can't do with Twitter.
definitely cannot do this with Twitter. Or as far as I know, anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cool part is that if you are following my blog and like from the microformats feed, you will get these pictures because they're on my site. So I don't know if any of my recent notes have them, but as soon as I use an emoji in a post, yeah, on my first page too, then if you're following this page, like the picture is the photo and it will show up in the feed reader. So it should just work for everybody without them knowing that they have to support it, which is cool. Question?
No, like a while back, I had a similar idea that like we would filter each post with sentiment analysis, and you would display a different version of your avatar based on the sentiment of your post.
Yep.
A lot of times, I mean, it's just a big mismatch between what people are posting and like whatever they pick for their avatar.
Definitely.
And sometimes
It's disconcerting when there's like a grinning face and then like a really sad post.
Yeah.
So this was my cheap version of sentiment analysis. It's like, oh, I use emoji all the time in posts, so let me just use that because that's more accurate than trying to analyze text. So yeah, cool. All right, I'm done. That's my demo. I will leave this laptop up here. If you can demo on this laptop, please do. It will save a lot of time.
And I might as well go for the one that I tested and it worked. Contact.com. I migrated my Amazon URL shortener because I was tired of like long Amazon URLs. And it's called asyn.cc. And as part of this migration, I also got HTTPS. So, cross your fingers. I don't know what internet we're on, and depending on what DNS is getting cached. It was loading for me earlier. So, what internet are we on? Yeah. And that's what I'm seeing right now. This was working like an hour ago.
It says waiting, which means the Wi-Fi is just bad.
Well, you've probably not loaded this domain before. So you're doing a DNS lookup. So something could be busted.
Oh, hey, there it goes.
Oh, look. It loaded, and it's got a nice lock on it, too. So this is a handy little tool to make algorithmic Amazon links. There's absolutely no content or data storage on this at all. It's all static content and static PHP. So what it does is it takes like your Amazon code like that, for example, paste it in, and then you can say, make me a short link. And there it is. And I added this as well. I actually did tweak the code slightly to generate an HTTPS link for you since it supports HTTPS now. But this is one of 7 domains that I have confirmed have migrated. And let's see, for the one that I couldn't tell if it migrated, which I probably should find out soon because otherwise it's going to break people's sites. Oh, look at that. Okay, this is H2VX. This is a very old microformats conversion service that's still running and that people still use to download their vCards and iCalendars. And so if you go to like the contacts conversion service, come on. Yeah, not sure why SSL is like slow on this connection. I mean, it already got the certificate for the site, so what is it doing? So that just happened. So what does that mean? Like it loaded the home page, lock and everything, and then it failed to load a subpage. So that's a network error, right? Like
it's still trying to.
all right. Well, did I do anything on my site? So my site without HTTPS loads just fine. So what the heck?
Interesting.
Yeah, I did post some pretty pictures last night from.
From where?
This is from San Francisco, from the Moraga Steps. And if you get to there at sunrise, you can see a nice view like that. And the other direction is the ocean. There. Did that.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Raina Harris, and I accomplish many really tiny things on my website. So it's Raina M, no longer at GitHub, so rainamharris.com. One of the amazing things about GitHub is that it's free. So I've had this site for, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 years, and it's always been free. But I finally made a custom domain. So what I did, a few things that I did, I added a photo and it has an H card, which I didn't even know what that meant. Beforehand, this footer, it's kind of a light font, but there's a small footer down here that says, this theme is an HTML5 theme, so it gives credit to the person who designed this theme. It's a Jekyll integration for GitHub Pages, and then there's a link to the source code. This footer was only working on one of my pages, and I fixed that, so now it works across all of them. I played with some of the CSS themes. I before was really unhappy with the size of the font of the H1 and H2 and H3s, but I'm happier with them. And then this, I think the blog is probably the thing that I did the most work on. So just a little tiny bit of formatting. I wrote a blog yesterday. Someone here, John, gave a little talk about using this tool. I don't know how you pronounce it. To do a screen share. So normally when you do a screen share of yourself live coding, it's a video. But this tool lets you do a text-based screen share. So it looks like a video, but it's actually text, and it's copy and pastable and findable and searchable. So but if we look at this, some more CSS style things. I changed the color of my hyperlinks. But down here, I used the IndieWebCamp wiki, and I looked for other people that were using Jekyll, and I found someone who had some really cool, plugin is the wrong word, but I copied and modified some code to quickly link to Twitter. So if you click share on Twitter, ba-bam, there's the name of the post, there's the link to the post, and there's my name so they can reference me if they retweet it. They can simply just send me a message if they want, copy the permalink, and then Discus was something that I had the code in there, but it was not working, and so I fixed my Discus code. So I'm still using another provider. Maybe one day I won't, but I think that's cool for now. And again, this footer is back. Yay. Okay, so those are my many, many small updates.
Hi everybody, I'm Gregor, and one of my projects today was to write stuff, and I wrote stuff about this very demo. The second part of my project actually was working on a CSS grid photo gallery, and so I worked on this mock-up with a lot of help from an article by Michelle Barker, and I'm not going to demo this part because I don't know Mac very well. I don't want to mess up the browser, but this is responsive. So basically this is 4 columns. The first photo there is spanning 2 of them. And when you get down to about 600 pixels, it collapses to two grid columns, and it maintains a whole aspect ratio. So basically these 3 photos here will just fall underneath that. So yeah, and I wrote more about it on my blog. So if you want to read it, there it is. And it's on Indie News too.
I'm David Millar, and my primary domain is davegoesthedistance.com. Today I worked on not just having my web projects, but also adding books that I've written and other projects I've worked on to my site. And I have those marked up with product microformats now, so that the information about them is available in the publishers and brands that are associated with that. And then I also started adding a list of friends at the bottom and marking that up with some of the XML Friends Network relation links, so that can facilitate kind of discovery of friends and such. And then also, I don't have it quite ready to demo, but on my other site, The Griddle, I started fixing a lot of the microformats that were in microformats 1 format and converting it to 2 and fixing other little bugs with that. And I'm going to be having that probably ready to go within the next week or so.
My name's Steven, and my work was all geared towards doing stuff locally on my computer, so I'm not going to hook it up to waste too much time. But basically, I wanted to be able to authenticate to my site without going out to IndieWebCamp.com. So I started on a little plugin because I have a local version of IndiePub.rocks running on my computer, so I can test integrations and stuff. So basically, if I sign in, it'll send me over to my own website to authorize now and tell me the scopes that it's asking for. And then if I kick back out, it'll send me to the test suite so I can test my micropub integration. So there's a lot to bite off, and because I'm just learning like plugin development and PHP and all this stuff all at once, but got somewhere.
All right, so hey, I'm Isaiah. I'm Isaiah on Twitter. It's ISAIAH. I'm Isaiah on Instagram. I'm Isaiah on micro.blog. It's an easy one to get. So I'm Isaiah.micro.blog. Sometimes I blog about my development, and what I'm working on today is a client for micro.blog. So yeah, so I like to write social clients. This one's called Kiwi. I just thought I'd show you the sign-in mechanism here. So get a nice little thing. There's a sort of developer variant of the sign-in that lets you sign in just with a token, and I have it right there. So easy peasy. Hopefully, yep. So this is just another client, and you know, it's a lot like the built-in client, but yeah, it has my flavors for it. So it has a nice narrow view, so if you go down, you get, yeah, a little bit different. It looks a little bit more like an old school Twitter client, I think. And the thing that I was working on today is just a really simple kind of tweak, because micro.blog allows you to post any sorts of pictures or any sorts of things. And I was trying to find some pictures here. Boy, there were. What's that? Oh, I'm on mentions. Oh, thank you. Okay, so it allows you to post any sorts of pictures. So sometimes you get some big pictures, sometimes you get some little pictures, and they don't necessarily fit. So here's a good example. These kind of like scroll, and you can get pages and pages of pictures. So what I was doing is basically building out this system that can slurp up the HTML, kind of scrape it, rip it apart, and smash it back together any way that I want. I don't have it completely filled out today, but I got a long way, so that I can at least, yeah, remangle these pictures in a more, yeah, hopefully smaller bite-sized pieces. So that's all I worked on today. But yeah, go check out my blog. Hopefully sometime I'll have this thing for download someday. It won't be long. All right, that's it.
How come responsive photos is so hard? Like, what? How come? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just get so frustrated. You think it would just work well, but it doesn't. Like, why haven't we solved this problem yet?
You know, I mean, really, it's not too hard, but the challenge is that people post them in all sorts of different ways from all sorts of different devices, and yeah, there's no like standard way to like go find all of the pictures of each post in Microblog or on a blog. So, yeah.
I worked on a couple things today. There was a session yesterday about link rot and archiving, and it reminded me that I had really wanted to work on export and import for micro.blog more than we have now, specifically a new format that is better to take all your blog posts and all your photos and move them somewhere else and encourage people to maybe adopt the format or at least give feedback on it. I called it blog archive, and .bar is the the extension, but it's really a zip file. So what I didn't totally finish what I wanted to do, but basically what I added to micro.blog is a way to export your blog in this format, and it uploads it to S3 so that there'll be a URL temporarily that you can download, because I expected the files were going to be a little bit big. Unfortunately, there's a bug, and this file is not a little bit big, but I'll show you what it looks like. So it's actually just a zip file, so I can rename it and just open it as a folder. And there's two files, index.html, a JSON feed, and then this is where the bug was. I accidentally didn't zip the photos, but they would go in the uploads folder organized by date. The idea, so this, the HTML file is 3 meg for my blog, and it's basically just every post on my site in just a really plain format, but with micro formats. So the JSON feed is there if you just want to parse JSON, but if you can read micro formats, then you can use that. The image doesn't show up. What I did do, though, is I updated, so all the posts are updated with relative paths for that uploads folder. So if I right-click on it, they don't even have a slash. They're just like the year and then the image name. So if that bug had not been there with the zip file, like all the images would also show up. So the idea is you have a format that is usable, like you can look at it and it looks like a blog or a website, but it's also machine readable. And I don't know, I'd like some feedback on this, and I'd like to fix the bug, and then maybe other systems can support it, because I just don't think there is a good way to move an entire site, make a backup, or import it somewhere else. Anyway, that's the first thing I worked on. And then the second thing is I worked on adding microsub support for micro.blog as a server. So now you can sign in to Monocle with a micro.blog account, and it says, do you want to allow access? I say yes, and I hope this works. And so this is Monocle talking to micro.blog via microsub, and so micro.blog has, like the timeline mentions favorites, and then it has your posts. So it's kind of really similar to what you would see in micro.blog, but it's via microsub. So in theory, other microsub clients could also use this. It's pretty functional. There's a couple things missing, like it supports getting new posts, but not old posts, so you can't scroll that far back. It also, Aaron made a change for hiding buttons that don't make sense for that particular service. So the favorite button doesn't really match micro.blog, so that's hidden. I also, as part of this, added in reply to support to micro.blog finally. So it will show the reply button, and if I type something here and hit reply, it will go to micro.blog as a reply, and it'll chain it into the conversation. So this is, I've been wanting to do this since microsub, a year ago, and finally had a chance to work on it. And so, yeah, there's a couple things still to do, but pretty happy to get it done and see where it goes. Thanks.
All right, so I am Colin Kunish, and I wanted to make a little video recap of this event. Ideally, it's very rough, as you'll see. It's some shots are way too long, et cetera, et cetera. But I got I think, kind of decent logo animation, and the eventual plan is to have some type of voiceover. It's very, blank B-roll type thing, but you can make it into anything you want. Music can change, voiceover can be whatever. But this is what I've got so far. Oops. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's taking over the audio too.
Oh.
It going to the HDMI.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Should have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Nice job. That was awesome.
I feel like we need a GIF version of the last shot of Aaron there.
My name's Colin Brown. Here's ColinWeather.com. Today I began an investigation on what's like a setup I can recommend somebody to kind of bootstrap using IndieWebReader with WordPress. And I started out using DreamHost, and I ran into some trouble. Got some guidance from Aaron and David regarding there's like a little test harness on the IndieAuth plugin that I could use. And I wasn't able to get any kind of response from DreamHost by modifying the HT access there. So I switched over to Reclaim hosting, and I was able to get that test to pass using Reclaim hosting. So I did make some progress. However, I'm still having trouble with doing a full login with Monocle to my Reclaim WordPress site. But I just set it up today, so I'm probably doing something real dumb. But anyway, I'll continue that, and hopefully I'll have something to recommend so that quickly get going with IndieWebCamp.
Okay. My name is Cornelius Toole. I'm Corn Toole almost everywhere on the internet. So the first thing I did, my easy task, was just connecting my micro.blog site to my domain. So it's at micro.corntoole.com. My second task was connected to, I was working on the blog archive format. I'm interested in being able to move podcasts, like from one host to another, or just being able to do a backup. So, so my starting point, because the hosts, I don't really control like what export they generate. I either need to take whatever export file they give me, or I need to take a feed. So I found the feed to JSON npm package, and so basically I forked that because the JSON that it was generating wasn't quite according to the JSON feed spec. So let's do a quick demo here. Here. All right. Let's see what. Not sure what. Oh, okay. All right. So I just grabbed the RSS feed from Micro Mondays. So right now everything is just hardwired in. I'm going to keep working on this to make this easier to use CLI. So you'll be able to give it an RSS feed, and it'll spit out an index.html and a index.json, similar to the BLAR in the BLAR format. So let's go and look at what it produced. So this is the HTML that was exported from that feed. And so one of the things that I wanted feedback for was, what should the markup be? Where is my gist? Right here. Okay. So this is the template that I'm using for the markup. So I posted a link in the chat. So you know, I would welcome any feedback in terms of what the markup should be. I mean, I don't think it needs to be all that complex though, but yeah. So Manton and I, we had some discussions, because the thing about moving a feed that has enclosures, you know, even images, right? You start getting into dealing with non-trivial file sizes. So I think it's almost like, I think it needs to be incremental. Like you need to export the markup with the URLs and whatnot, and then probably add on other tools that can incrementally download or migrate the media files to other sites. So that's what I have today. So.
Here we are. Quill. So you may remember Quill from previous demos. And yeah, you'll see notifications every time somebody mentions my name. So I have a dev site that you've seen me use for this, but so this site, as well as my regular site, are equipped with IndieAuth. So I can log in and it can ask me the question, would I like to access this site with this lovely picture of me? But once you get into Quill, much to my disappointment, there is no lovely picture of me. I'm joking because I don't really like to see pictures of me. But now, on the main page, it does that. So now that I've sent one pull request to Aaron, he's going to regret it because I might have more, which he'll have to evaluate. So now that required changing the IndieAuth endpoint in WordPress to actually return a name, a photo, and whatever else I wanted to, and then Quill to actually know it was there. But since that only took a little while, I also, let's see, finished up my work on geofencing. So I have these lovely geofences here, one of them being the hotel I was staying at last night. And if I'm within one of those, it will obscure the location and just say, in this case, hotel. So if I'm in any of those areas, it will refuse to actually, unless I override it, tell anyone exactly where I am. And then, of course, I had some free time, so I complied with the microsub spec and fixed a whole bunch of errors that were preventing microsub clients from actually reading what I was outputting. So,
Are you writing a Microsoft server?
No, Jack Jameson is writing a microsub server. I'm writing the code that changes everything into JF2 that he's reading in order to output it. So he's using the library that I created to do it, so I just keep improving the library, which has the net result of improving yarns. So everyone's happy. And then I had a few free extra minutes, so I also continued with that and just kept reading Aaron's site until it liked it. So he has the most varying types of things that I could find. So if I fix him and if I can get Context site fixed, then I figure I've covered the gambit of things that I'd have to do. So that pretty much covers everything I did today. But the day is still young. It's only 5 o'clock, so we'll see what happens before midnight, because I have nowhere to be till 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So this is like the loading, the what is it, the page for my email address. So, and I didn't get to work much on it about it. I got carried away with doing like some other stuff. But basically, this is a landing page for my email address. So the idea is that like people, like if you're gonna give that email address, right, people will just think that like you're kidding them, right? So, and I mean like this is a real email address, right? So you like go to idk.su and like see what's going on, right? So you're gonna go to like idk.su and you're gonna see that like it probably is real after all. So.
Or does it mean that it's not real?
Why would there be a page if it wasn't real?
No one knows.
No one knows.
Okay, the fact that it exists means that it's real.
What does it say at the bottom? Are you sure it says?
Oh, at the bottom it has, huh? Oh, what was the question?
Who's new and what do they know?
Oh, I don't know. And at the bottom it says, this is like my name. And in Japanese and katakana characters, and at the bottom it's just kind of like the smiley face or whatever. So yeah, I think like on Eventbrite, they basically always want like your email. Like if you RSVP to any events on Eventbrite, they always want to know like your name, like your last name, your first name, your email address, your zip code. Like they ask all sorts of information, and like they have absolutely no reason to get that information. So I basically, when I created my account, I decided that like I have a pretty unique name, and like I don't want people to just kind of like track me like everywhere, right? And I decided why not put my name in Japanese, right? And like test if I can actually print it in Unicode characters, right? And it's actually pretty surprising. I went like to a number of events that actually, they did print it. They printed my badge in Unicode characters like that. Yeah, and I think I'm going to use your idea about the XKCD for a different email address that I have. That one, it's, do you want to know that one?
Let's hear it.
It's $@u8.su. So, yeah, and U8 is just like 2 characters, so. Yep.
What else? We have a couple of, I guess, announcements. 2019.IndieWeb IndieWebCamp.org. There are more IndieWebCamps coming to a city near you. Starting with one that is not in a city, it is just online. So if this was fun, you can actually do this remotely from home, the comfort of your bed. The Berlin date is wrong. We need to fix that date. It's correct if you click through.
Did we cover if you have a video camera at visitors code? You said you should do it from the comfort of your bed.
Oh my goodness.
The code of conduct applies still online. The Berlin is actually in May. We need to fix that in this page. So online, New Haven, Berlin, Dusseldorf, Utrecht, and then Portland. And that takes us to June, and there will probably be more in the last half of the year. We don't know when or where yet. Come to Portland. Portland's great. That is where I'm from. That's the one that I run, and we call it IndieWeb Summit because that is where it started, and it's usually the largest one out of the group. Although Germany gets close sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a good turnout there. So yeah, thanks. Anything else, Contact? Manton, would you like to say any closing remarks?
I want to help pick up any pieces of interaction stuff. Just try to leave the space like we found it.
Yeah. I do still have 3 small shirts if anybody's interested in one. They are, it's my only size left. So we will hopefully be able to get more shirts later. And yeah, huge thanks to Manton for putting this space together. It's amazing. That's the hardest part of running these events, so thank you. And yeah, I'm sure we can break for dinner and continue hanging out, because I know some of us don't have to jump on a plane immediately.
Not till tomorrow morning.
Not till tomorrow morning. Thanks.
Cool.